I do have to call Mayu out. Miss Ma'am, stop feeding your cat milk. Welcome back to a wonderful review of a wonderful Precure. And today we get into episode 11. Now, right off the bat, one thing to point out that's also very noticeable in this episode, if you're looking for it, this is directed by Itooka. Before we had the main director doing a lot of the episodes and then a couple of other people, Itooka is known for his strong art style as well as some of like big episodes in terms of plot, and I feel like this really brought it in terms of art. I think this is one of the prettiest and most fluid episodes in terms of its animation. Plot, I think it was strong. I think we did have like some nuggets of goodness there, but I wouldn't say like this is like a show-stopping episode by any stretch of the imagination. It was just a decent episode. One thing to point out, and the reason why I'm using the screenshot here where we start off, is that you can kind of see, especially on the right side, this like bottom shadow that creeps up into the face. That's something that I would say is a little bit more unique to not necessarily just Itooka, but different from the average style that we see. We'll also have other screenshots of just seeing like this superb animation, and I'll do little clips as well. But this episode starts off differently, and I kind of like that our vibe for this one is we've been hearing that a Garugaru is already around and we're gonna go after it, which works to the favor of the unique style and setup for Wonderful Precure, because now we have like the Garugaru just around, rather than the monster of the week show up while like during the episode because one of the generals sent out a big bad. Here's another shot. Also, the other thing is kind of the variety in the line art. Typically we see the lines, a little background and animation, a little nerd out here. Typically the lines are drawn completely anti-A-list, and then they use a I believe a plugin in anime to convert all the lines into a smoother line. I'd have to show you images to really convey it. So when you have line weight like this, like specifically you can see it around the frame of her head, her ears, and her neck. You can see that the line's not all exactly the same size in the same way that her hair is the same size. And I believe this is more of like an Itooka style thing to do. But also, I'm not 100% a professor on this, so don't quote me. But just, again, things to pick up and just like tiny details that kind of enhance the look of an episode. I also don't mind how the romance is being handled in this series. I feel like, ironically enough, compared to other series, Precure tends to actually go in the opposite direction when it adds romance into a series, where it doesn't exist pretty much for 95% of the series, and then like towards the end there's a 5% romance inclusion. Here, it's not over the top. Like, it's definitely very subtle that Satoru's like, oh my god, you're asking me to go to the mountain with you? I mean, I know we're finding the Garugaru, but we're going alone. Is this a date? Are we having a date right now? And it's, again, I like how subtle it is through the episode. We have very, very small snippets where it's like we're acknowledging that romance exists, but again, it does not completely eclipse everything that occurs in the episode, and it is by no means the focus. So the way that romance is going here, I think has so far been the best way romance has been handled thus far in Precure, in my opinion. They have plenty of room to mess that up, but thus far, this has been the best, and it feels more like it's gonna go somewhere than it historically has. I'm looking at you, Delicious Party, Happiness Charge, and we don't talk about Yes 5. Again, this is another frame where it's just like the beauty of the episode has gone up, but also putting out here that this is like a I see her as a beautiful being kind of moment for Satoru. We also get this nice flower scene. I just thought it was pretty. I like pretty things. I threw it in there. I did have, I was watching this with Bahamut Blast and Magical Cinnamon last night for the premiere. Bahamut Blast pointed out that the butterfly right here on Komugi is probably a reference to the fact that Komugi is a papillon dog. So, you know, you get your little, like, butterfly moth thing going on. You get this butterfly moth thing going on. This episode has its fair share of hijinks as our crew is actually once again trying to actively figure out where the Garugaru are before, like, they wreak too much havoc. And we play this very, very goofy guessing game of, we need a big furry animal on a mountain. Let's see what we can come up with. We get a lot of sea creatures. There's a lot of sea creatures in this guessing game. I'm sure children must have gotten laughs out of this. We also have Satoru coming prepared. Like, the vibe of the group is so nice. He's really just like team mom all the way. Here's some cookies for Iroha, because you gotta keep your blood sugar up while you're being active, coming from the guy who has 0 physical prowess. I also think I think the reason why he's not joining the Precure team, it's not because he's a guy, it's because he's not physically strong. He needs to get more stamina because the rest of the group has way too much energy. Also, we made a little pop cup for Kabuki. Also, we didn't bring Daifuku. I guess Daifuku can't come on the date, but like, be so for real. Where's Daifuku? But yeah, our eclectic girls are happy as ever. Just these goofballs. They are sharing one brain cell this whole episode. That's all I can say. I know everybody makes that joke, but they really do be working that one brain cell overtime. Ah! I do have to call Mayu out. Miss Ma'am, stop feeding your cat milk. I refuse to believe that your cat is 6 months old or younger. Because you are not supposed to give cats milk. They even bring it as a point where she's like, oh no, I've run out of milk. I must go shopping for milk. I was like, ma'am, stop feeding your cat milk. The people who work on the show clearly are not cat people. Cats cannot digest milk. After 6 months, you have to wean them off. In fact, you probably shouldn't have given them milk to begin with. You know, they're this special formula for cats. Also, I like that Mayu is closer to figuring out what they're trying to do on the mountain. But also, once again, she's borrowing that one brain cell. Because what is Mayu? Mayu, Miss Ma'am, they're not just having a grand old time riding on the not animal we can't figure out. I also love that we've been trying to solve what animal could possibly be on the mountain all episode, and I made a joke that, oh my god, it's a tanuki again. Where it's gotta be a tanuki or a raccoon. We gotta go for 3 for 3 on that one. I love that these ladies show up once more, but also the fact that they keep showing up now, like in these like silly goofy places. I'm like, what if these are the big bad? What if these are the big bad? They're giving like Hocus Pocus vibes. They also remind me of the trio from Sweet. But you know, I'm just gonna put out there, wild theory. What if these guys end up being more than meets the eye? And then we have where this episode like really shines, which is all of the little nuggets we get for Nyami/Yuki. So for those of you who did not see any of the leaks, this was the design that we saw for Yuki. Like literally up, like what is inside Mayu's eye right here, we just saw her profile up. We have no idea what her outfit looked like, other than I believe it's also shown in the opening. But this was exactly what we saw, and we're like, yep, it is confirmed that this is what our human form Yuki. I hope I'm not spoiling that for anybody, but I feel like if you're watching one of my videos, you probably picked up on the fact that this is Yuki. She looks really good. Boy howdy I'm excited for what's gonna come later. For those of you who have not read the summaries, she is destined to have a personality, and that's all I'll say on that until we actually get to see her more. But I do love that the first thing she does, now that she can talk, now that she has a voice, is she warns Mayu to stay away from the mountain. She also transformed into a human right next to the Mirror Stone. I was under the impression that that moment at the Mirror Stone was the first time she got a human form. There is evidence in this episode that is not the case, that she has actually been running around with a human and Cure form for a hot minute, which I'm sure whenever we dive into her backstory, she'll tell us precisely that moment when she received those abilities. But I think they just had her transform near the Mirror Stone to drive home that the Mirror Stone is an important object in the franchise, and probably gave everybody their powers for some reason. Otherwise, we're back to our main group where they're just having fun on the mountain. It's just nice to kind of see them all vibe. It's nice that this is an episode where we don't have any kind of controversy. Like, we don't have any of the characters fighting, especially since I think that's going to be on the horizon. No one's really bickering. We're all just having a good time. We're goofing off on the mountain trying to find the Garugaru, all sharing that one brain cell to deduce what the Garugaru might be. Also gotta point out the incredibly beautiful food spread. I love it when they put food in anime. Their lunch looks very, very yummy. They have a cute little pink and egg. And then we come across a bear nest, which pretty much, like, I thought they would be a little bit more subtle when we finally reveal what the Garugaru is. Where they're just like, that's a bear nest. Bears will have a nest in trees like they're birds. Which, I don't know much about Japanese bears, and I don't know their habits. I grew up in an area where we have black bears and brown bears. I've seen black bears in person in the wild. I have not seen brown bears in the wild. I've seen them at our local zoo. So I don't really know much about Japanese bears. Other than I think they're smaller, because this bear is one of the smallest Garugaru we've had. We also get a little tinge of the bat again, though this feels like it's kind of recycled from the lion episode where it's just like, go fight, minion. Animation for the fight scene's really nice. A lot of this again kind of likely being an Ituoka moment. But we see Cure Wonderful move around so fluidly. There's so much hair motion, which is really, really nice. It's just it's like the first time I've really sat here since maybe the first episode and been like, that was a pretty fight. I might make GIFs out of some of the stuff that happened in the fight, because it had some good fun flow. It felt like a fun fight. We hear a little bit about bears. This is one of those moments where I'm like, I never remember what the rules are about bears. I think if it's brown, lie down. If it's black, fight back. I don't remember necessarily if that stuff is true, because I remember that every time somebody says something about a bear, someone else is like, actually don't do that. If you want advice on how to deal with bears in mountains, here's my personal advice when I've come across a mama black bear and her juvenile babies. Have a dog. If you're gonna go walk through mountains that have black bears, have a dog. The dog will scare them off. The dog is loud and aggressive, and then you may have a dog like me at the time who was like, you know what I should do? I should fight the mama bear. And you're just like, no, this is why you're on a leash. We will not be fighting the bear. Komugi is significantly smaller than a golden retriever, though. Also, if we're ever on the trail together, you and I can say right now, I'll be the top. I'll be on top. We can chase the bear together. I'll do that. I'll take that bullet. I'll be on the top. You can be on the bottom. And we can all look really tall and scare the bear away. Ooh. But look, the bear is so small. Are Japanese bears just like really tiny? I'm gonna have to Google that afterwards. It's so itty bitty. Oh, and then we see this interesting shot of, it's a Kirin animal, so they have the crystal, and that the crystal has been damaged, which at first I was like, there's no way it could be Kiranyami because she has only just become a cure. Like, she surely has not gone to the mountain the night before and tried to fight the bear. You know, boy, am I wrong sometimes. Also, the Kirin animal, this one, I don't know why, like, I didn't notice this before, but its crystal is like it's little balls. It's the little bulbous. It's all round. It's not crystal-y. I don't know if that really has any significance. I don't really know why they're mixing up what the gem looks like, but it's different. Also, the bear has, like, got more of a personality. I think that's only because the bear interacted with Kiranyami. But he's, like, sitting there doing push-ups and everything, and I'm like, sir, you are a forgettable, marketable plushie. Why are you doing push-ups? Why are you having a personality? But yeah, he points out that he got in a tussle with Kiranyami, our mysterious diva, who is definitely going to appear next episode. How much integration we're gonna have her into the team, that's still up in the air. I also think this is a really good setup for the series. Like, I think they're about to take advantage of something. This is a theory, but they might just take advantage of the fact that this is a pacifistic season and that they're trying to purify the Garugaru and not defeat them. And I think that's a really good plot to go into with Nyami, where immediately you have this character who's probably going to be strong, because typically new cures are rather strong. And I don't see why they would go for her in the weak direction. But it would be very interesting to showcase that, like, she attacks the Garugaru, and the girls have to teach her the power of not attacking the Garugaru and being able to purify, since technically speaking, I'm sure that Nyami and Lillian need to have the ability to purify the Garugaru as much as our main characters. So I think this actually has potentially very good setup to having not quite mid-season character, but late season or later introduced main character, and having them be overpowered because oftentimes they're significantly stronger than the rest of the crew, but still have her, like, not feel like she's overshadowing her other characters because she's doing it differently. So I am very excited to see where this goes. I think they could write this in a very interesting direction. I'm also bracing myself because, again, a big personality on this one and a lot of intersection between her and our current squad of Komugi and Iroha. I don't think we're going to have it be too much controversy, but I do think she's going to be a little bit of a sassy Sue here. I think we're gonna have a little bit of a sass, and my hope is that, as we've done with a lot of seasons thus far, any kind of, like, mishap we have with her, I hope it's well written, and I hope it's something that we get over. I hope we will still keep her very loud personality that's going to come, but I hope that we get to a point where she harmonizes with the group while still having a whole personality. That's just me. I love cats, so my goal at this point is I want to be in Kiranyami stan. I don't like mean characters, though. So I'm hoping that whatever comes on the horizon, I will be able to love Kiranyami, because I'm trying to go all in for loving Kiranyami because she has such a beautiful design. Anyways, we'll see more of her next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye!